Corey Feldman's divorce case involves a very important issue in many, if not most, divorce cases of any significant length of time. And that is temporary alimony and permanent alimony. There is a distinction. Temporary alimony is also called suit money. In other words, while your lawsuit is going on, what kind of financial reimbursements, remuneration, funds, living expenses for needs and necessities does your soon-to-be former spouse have? A lot of states, I know Florida in particular is where I practice law, generally speaking, a lot of states have factors at play based on the length of the marriage, based upon contributions to the marriage. In some areas that could be homemaking, child rearing, career building, career sacrifices. Maybe somebody goes to work, they are the breadwinner, and the other party performs everything necessary in order to further their career, foster their career. And that could mean any number of things. But based upon all of those factors, alimony can be calculated. In the state of Florida, for example, alimony at maximum. We do not know the floor. The statute only tells us the ceiling, how high these things really go. In Florida, we're talking about a maximum of the superior income spouse's income minus the income of essentially 35%. That's the maximum amount of alimony if provable, which it is not necessarily provable based upon all of the factors and expenses of the paying party and the need of the party, the payee, that will in fact be paid monthly alimony. The length of the marriage in Florida, if you've been married 0 to 9 years, 364 days, then we take 50% of the length of the marriage, barring any unforeseen circumstances such as marital disability, then that is the amount. So essentially 50%. Once we get into the 60% category, once we get in the category of a moderate term marriage, then we're talking about 60% of the length of the marriage. After 20 years, 75% of the length of the marriage, which can sometimes seem like permanent alimony, even though it has been essentially abolished in the state of Florida. Now, in Corey Feldman's case, the issues are temporary alimony. He's been ordered to pay substantial temporary alimony to his soon-to-be former spouse. That is not uncommon. If one person has a job, which Corey Feldman has at various times in his career, for example, he is one of the more famous actors from the 80s and 90s. Corey Feldman probably receives residuals, probably receives what we call royalty payments from his time as an actor in Hollywood in various television shows and movies, sponsorships, commercials, all of these sorts of things. And because of that, the lawyers are trying to calculate how much he receives on a monthly basis, what the average of that is, and therefore make some claims about either his attorney will claim that he cannot afford to pay a certain amount of alimony, if any at all, and the other side will claim that he can afford to pay $5,000, for example. $3,500, certainly. I believe he's been ordered to pay $3,000 or $3,500 on a monthly basis, called temporary alimony suit money, also sometimes referred to as alimony pendente light, which is the Latin terminology for this. So we calculate temporary alimony. If, for example, in the state of Florida, it does not necessarily have the same standard for written findings because it's an interim order. In other words, before final judgment. This is what you're going to pay in the meantime while your case is unfolding. And we really look to the financial affidavits of the parties. What do the financial affidavits say? And based upon the documents provided to support those financial affidavits, are those parties, one, does somebody have a superior income and an ability to pay alimony? How much do they claim to have the ability to pay versus what are they really able to pay according to their finances? And two, how much of a need does the other side have, if any at all? And why can't they get a job? Why can't they increase their standard of living by working increased hours? Are there childcare responsibilities? Is there a disability of some kind? Is there some other intervening, superseding issue or factor that prevents that party from earning a greater income? Some of those things can be based upon the economy, the industry in which somebody works. We can get vocational expert witnesses and a variety of other expert witnesses to testify at a temporary hearing or at trial if necessary. Essentially, in a case like Corey Feldman's, the court is working with some of the information, but perhaps not all of the ultimate information that will be available. Because ordering temporary alimony can happen just a few months into a case based upon need, whereas after a year or even 2 years of document disclosures, so many things can change. Accounts can be uncovered. Hidden accounts can be uncovered. All sorts of things can happen. Maybe the party that needs alimony, the payee, maybe they now have taken on a better job or gotten a promotion, and their circumstances have changed. Things are constantly evolving in the context of a divorce, and in my opinion, it is important to contact legal counsel because you can find out your rights, your responsibilities, and what your alimony exposure might be versus how much you might be entitled to receive, depending on the circumstances of your unique case.